Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today. It's the first time that I'm attending as well, and I hope it won't be the last time that I come here. It's fascinating to see all the buzz outside in these 30 minutes or so that I've been here already. As Inken was saying, I'm going to present a topic to you that it's not very usually presented in those conferences. When we talk about ESG, there is a lot of, for the right reasons, there is a lot of discussions and focus on the E, the environmental side of it, and also more and more on the G. Yeah, all of the requirements, the regulatory requirements that are coming our way. I think that on the S, we are still not focusing well enough. And that's the social. And that's what I want to talk to you today about. It's social procurement. Now, let me start with a very informal poll here. Can you raise your hand if you are somehow familiarized with the topic social procurement? Just raise your hand. Great. Now, are you doing something on social procurement? Do you have strategies in place? Do you have your teams working on it? Please raise your hand. Okay, not so many, but that's okay. That helps me now to adapt, I think, my presentation to you. So for the others that perhaps are not that much familiarized with the topic, I'd like to show a video. That's an internal video that we produced about a year ago, but it contains not only our definition of social procurement, but also it's featuring some of the suppliers, the social enterprises that we work with. So let me see if the technology will work.
Met a representative from Change Please, a great company for helping people out of homelessness, off the street.
As someone that was homeless, my circumstances didn't feel like it was my forever.
She explained to me about what Change Please can do for people that are unemployed and have experienced homelessness.
With Change Please, I felt like I was able to get out of that, I was able to work, feel like I had purpose, leave my refuge on a daily basis.
Which most of us would take for granted.
At Zurich, we're helping to build a better world just by changing our buying behaviors. By choosing social enterprises like Change Please to provide the products and services that we need to run our business, we're helping to change lives.
It allows me to have an impact of feeling like I had something to do outside of being in the refuge and my circumstances.
It's just helped with a lot more independence.
I really just felt so represented and supported, and that was really nice for me to see that happening.
Social enterprises are businesses that exist to create positive social change. Buying products and services from social enterprises is the easy bit. Let's hear from them to find out how they do it.
At the World Health Group, we provide business consumables and corporate training for some of the world's leading brands. We use our profits to fund our social and environmental projects. In the UK, we deliver social mobility opportunities for young people from some of the poorest communities. Globally, we provide financial inclusion through startup capital and business training for some of the world's poorest people. To date, we have transformed over 2 million lives, and specifically, Zurich have contributed 7,500 of those lives.
Oticon is an IT consulting company and social enterprise that only hires autistic professionals as IT consultants. More than 70% of autistic adults are without a job. At Zurich, 8 of our autistic consultants have found employment thanks to your partnership. Our data shows that employment changes lives. It improves self-esteem and quality of life.
We are Change Please, a not-for-profit social enterprise that tackles homelessness through coffee. We find people who are homeless and rough sleeping, and we lift them out of homelessness through a living wage job, housing, bank account, therapy support, and then a new job typically after around 6 months. We are so excited to be working with Zurich to find a sustainable way of lifting people out of homelessness just by changing where they buy their coffee.
These are great companies providing award-winning products and services. And the good news? There is no compromise on quality or value for money.
Thank you
for using your global purchasing power
to help make a positive difference
to the world.
Let's change our buying behaviors to help change the world.
So this is for us. what we mean by social procurement. And let me repeat some of the key messages, because I will come back to these points later during the presentation. Social enterprises, these are not regular organizations. They are normal suppliers, but they have a key differentiator. They are profit-oriented companies. But then instead of then keeping those profits or distributing to shareholders or to the ownership of the company, they must have a mission, a social or environmental mission, to which they have to reinvest the majority of those profits. That's the key differentiator that they have in comparison to the regular suppliers that we work with. I'm not saying that working with the normal suppliers is a bad thing, not at all. The other thing that is very important, working with social enterprises doesn't mean that you are making compromises on cost or quality. As I will show later, actually they can compete on very equal terms with any other supplier, but they need to be given a chance to do this. And finally, this is not charity. We are spending the money that we would have spent anyway to buy products and services for our operations. So keep those three things in mind, because I'll come back to this in a moment. Our journey started about 8 years ago, perhaps 2016, and in the UK. And we wanted to start with a market where we could simply try. Yeah, the idea was not start with a big bang. We were given the opportunity to start working there with Social Enterprise UK, which is a local intermediary that managed the network of social enterprises in the country. And we became one of the founding members of the Buy Social Corporate Challenge. I will also come back to this a little bit later. After a few years, we decided to expand the program to other countries in Europe. It was late in 2019 when we did the soft launch in an event that we organized in Zurich, in our headquarters. You know what happened in January 2020. Yeah, so between lockdowns, we had to put everything pretty much on hold and wait for the right moment to relaunch the program. And it happened towards the end of that year, when then instead of doing an internal program, we joined forces with 5 other companies, I believe, Siemens, Johnson & Johnson, CBRE, and one that I'm forgetting now. But anyway, we asked Social Enterprise UK to help us to expand to other countries. And the countries that we have chosen were Germany, Switzerland, Ireland, and Netherlands. For a combination of criteria, it was where we had large operations in those countries and also where the market was more mature. Yeah, the cell market was more mature. Now, a few years later, perhaps 1 or 2 years later, our program in the UK received an award, the British Insurance Award. Pretty much unexpected, I have to admit. Yeah, but that shows the importance of how I think that procurement can go beyond that stigma of only cost-cutting, managing contracts, etc. All of a sudden, we had the marketing guys from Zurich coming to us, marketing, public relations, communications, you name it, asking what was this all about? Because they saw an opportunity to attach what we were doing with our brand strategy. Then I'm talking about now probably 2022, we decided then to go to the next step, and that would be to bring the program outside of Europe. And we have chosen then Brazil to be it, for 2 reasons. Our operations there, but also because we could partner with Social Business, and they have a strong presence there as well. So they helped us matchmaking social enterprises in the country. And at the same time, Yunus was helping us on building a training program that we called Social Procurement Ambassadors. The idea of the program, which was pretty much online, but with discussions and meetings, all of that virtual, was that we would have the procurement function trained and equipped at the same time as we would have the business side trained and equipped as well. So we had people from IT, from facilities management, from sustainability, in other parts of the company joining the program with us. And each one of them, in pairs more or less, they would become then the social procurement ambassadors in their markets. This is more or less where we are. We have been doing a few other things externally as well last year, but I would like to stop talking that much about Zurich, and I would like to start talking about what we can do collectively in this room here. There is a study published in 21 by BCG, Boston Consulting Group, together with Yunus, that demonstrates that for every dollar that we have allocated to budgets on CSR, there is $400 that we spend with indirect procurement. Now you have to figure out the magnitude of this, 400 times more. That means that if we would spend or allocate 1% of our indirect procurement budgets or spend, it would still be 4 times bigger than the total of the CSR budget that companies have available. That demonstrates the power that we can use to drive the social impact. And this brings me to the next point. I believe that we, leaders in the procurement functions in our companies, we must stand up and we must take the leadership role here. Either we manage directly or we can influence how the money is spent in our companies. So why not allocating a very small percentage of this spend to social enterprises? Again, I have to repeat, going back to one of the points before, it's not charity. It's spending the money that we would need to spend anyway. Yeah? And I can say that we at Zurich, we have an annual spend of about $2.5 billion. And I can imagine how many billions of dollars we collectively manage in this room alone. So again, imagine a 0.1% of allocation to social enterprise. It would bring a significant impact, yeah, and a benefit to the society. Not only this, again, social enterprise competing on equal terms with traditional suppliers. Then there are other things, other benefits, other value that you can get out of it. And I will try to be as specific as possible in giving real case examples from our experience here. I mentioned already what happened when we won the award in the UK, that we had people coming to us and asking, what is this? How can I use this for external communication? So you see the power to associate our procurement function to the brand strategy of the company. Then employee engagement is another one. We have people that joined our company recently, the procurement function recently, that after joining, they come and say, you know what, one of the reasons why I joined you is exactly because of your public, social, and environmental commitments. So all of a sudden, you see here the connection with the talent strategy of the company. And then we had, that was the next moment when HR started talking to us, willing to know more about the social procurement program. Because they saw that this could have a significant impact on employee engagement, talent retention, and talent attraction overall. That happened with us. Finally, you saw in the video one of the companies featured there, Wild Hearts. They were our very first social enterprises. And they started working for us in a moment of urgency. They provide office supplies to us for 8 years, more or less. We used to work with another company, a traditional one, big American brand. You can probably figure out 1 or 2 names that could be the incumbent there. I will not mention the name. But they had to do an IT system update or something like this. And all of a sudden, we stopped receiving office supplies, nothing strategic, but we stopped receiving that. 1 year was gone, nothing. 1 week, nothing happened. 2nd week, we started receiving escalations. Yeah? Either paper, toner, or business cards were not being delivered. So we had to do something about it. And luckily, we had a contact with Wild Hearts because we did invite them to an RFI a few months earlier. And we asked them if they could jump in and take over the operations for us. They did it over the weekend. So my point here is that you become the customer of choice. Yeah? When you speak with them, you usually speak either with the owner or with the C-level directly. The account management team that they allocate to you is usually the top talent that they have in their organizations as well. So the relationship is completely different than what you otherwise would usually see. I want to go back to the Buy Social Corporate Challenge program. This is UK specific, but the vision then, the 6 founding members that I mentioned in the beginning, we decided that we wanted to commit to spend about £1 billion within the next 10 years. 6 started. We are 30 nowadays. These numbers are from the annual report from last year. And collectively, we have spent in these 6 years over £350 million. Now, let's go to the next one, because out of this £350 million, over £30 million have been reinvested in the social or in the environmental missions. Again, money that we would have spent anyway. But all of a sudden, you see that we can contribute to an impact to society. Not only that, over 3,000 jobs that have been created directly or indirectly by the social enterprises. Yeah, that shows, again, the power that we, procurement heads or leaders in the procurement space, we can achieve by simply shifting a small percentage of our spend. And I want to come now to the title of the presentation, the triple win, because what we usually talk about in the relationship between customer and supplier is the win-win. Yeah? We buy, we get a benefit, they sell, they get a benefit as well. And that's true, but there is another element, another dimension in social procurement. I will show you some numbers from the annual report as well, because together with the key figures, there is always a survey that is distributed among the participants of the program. And this can be the corporate buyers, like Zurich. It can be also the social enterprises. So let's start with the corporates. Whoops. Yeah. I will let you read the numbers there, but there is one point that I want to highlight here. The last one, 73% of the corporate participants said that social procurement is helping them on raise the awareness of the procurement function within their organizations. So all of a sudden, we are not the people cost-cutting. We are not the people getting the contracts done overnight. We start being business partners, truly business partners. People come to us and see us as a contributor to the strategy of the company. Social enterprises. In a nutshell, what you see here coming out of this is that they value the partnership, the possibility to get feedback from us, to reapply, to improve, enhance their products, their services. It's also another evidence for me of the agility that they can offer. Yeah. Usually they are very small, and many times we invite social enterprises to bids, to tenders, RFPs, whatever, knowing that they, at that point, they still don't have a chance to win that contract. But they will be learning from it. So next time, they will be better equipped, and they have a better chance. Now, let's come to the triple win. Because where is the money being reinvested? The profit goes into areas like creating employment opportunities. Usually people with disabilities, for example, mental disabilities, physical disabilities. Typically also you see companies employing veterans or offenders. Yeah? Providing education opportunities to children. So all of that money that we are spending is then ending up, a significant part of it, to areas like this. And this is where we win, because we are getting the products, the services that we need to run our operations. The supply market, the social enterprises, they win because they are increasing their revenues and they're employing more people, and society win. This is the triple win for me. Okay, I have a sign here saying that I have 10 minutes left, and I wanted to give some time for Q&A. Some key learnings out of this 8 years of program. Number one, our companies can create social impact by redirecting part of our spend, a small part of our spend, to social enterprises. Number two, we must take a lead role. We must find ways, work with intermediaries, work with like-minded companies to bring social enterprise and embed them in our supply chain. Number three, very important one, it's not about charity. Yeah, we are not giving money away. We are getting what we need anyway, without compromising on cost or quality. Number four, be prepared to handhold some of these social enterprises. It will pay back later. Like I said, when we invite some of them to participate on tenders, yeah, we do sit down with them. We do explain them why they didn't win, perhaps, or where they could perform better. That's what I mean by handholding. And finally, social procurement can generate additional value to our organizations. Now, this is the moment that usually I start getting the questions, and most of them are, how can I get started? How do I find social enterprises, and so on and so forth. So I have this additional slide here with 5 organizations that you can reach out if you want to. Let me go through them quickly. SEND, Social Enterprise Netzwerk Deutschland. They are the national intermediary body in Germany. So if you are a member and you go to them and say that you have a tender and you want to, I don't know, bid for facilities management, they will come back to you with a list of possible candidates. Yeah, they promote their own events, etc. Telos. Telos is a new company. It was created about a year ago and is a spin-off from SE UK. They are also an intermediary, to make it simple to understand, but they are present on a regional level. So they work with SEND, but they work in a way that if I go to them, and let me think of another example, I want to do e-waste management for my company. They will come back to me, and they will work with SEND to identify perhaps social enterprise that can act on more than one country separately. Yeah? That's very significant if you have operations in many different companies. Yunus, I mentioned before, it's a huge source of information, research, capability building, but also if you consider doing social procurement outside of Europe, especially in Latin America and in Africa, they are a good place to start. Sustainable Procurement Pledge, one that is very close to my heart. And by the way, let me do another poll here. Do we have any SPP ambassadors in the room? 1. Brilliant. 2 with me. I'm not only one ambassador, but I'm one of the co-chairs of the Supplier Diversity Chapter. So SPP is a grassroots movement that started, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years ago. It was a vision from 2 CPOs, from Bayer and from Henkel. And they believe that procurement must take a lead role on driving sustainability overall. We are close to 20,000 ambassadors today. You can do the QR code there. You can become a member, joining us on LinkedIn. We have different chapters. As I said, I'm one of the co-chairs of the Supply Diversity Chapter. We have national chapters. So Thomas from the German chapter should be here today or tomorrow as well. Yeah. And that's a perfect, especially I think that for your employees. We offer webinars, we offer research. It's everything done on a pro bono basis. So I'm a volunteer, she's a volunteer, and everybody else is a volunteer. We only have, or SPP only has 3 full-time employees. All of the 20,000 others, volunteers. And finally, Buy Social Europe. Buy Social Europe B2B is a project that will take until the end of this year with a possibility to extend, but that's not certain yet. And it's co-funded by the European Commission and by SAP. And with 23 different partners, all of the 4 before are partners in the project. We have been working for the past 15 months, more or less, not only on raising awareness for social procurement, but also on collecting data that will inform the European Commission, building capabilities on the buy side and building capabilities on the sell side. Yeah. Now, the European Commission is investing on this because they are looking into the market. They want to push this forward. So it might be, I'm not guaranteeing anything here, but in a few years perhaps, we'll have another type of CSRD or something like this on social procurement as well. So that's another reason I think to pay attention to the topic, to anticipate what might be coming up as well. All right, we have 4 minutes left for any questions. Where is she? Und das kann gerne jetzt auf Deutsch auch sein.
Vielen Dank für deinen Vortrag erstmal. Einen großen Applaus bitte für Jaime Paiva. So, bis jetzt hat mich auf Slido eine Frage erreicht, und zwar, wie kommt es, dass nur wenige Companies in Social Procurement sich beteiligen?
Ich glaube, das hängt davon ab, dass das Thema gar nicht so bekannt ist, noch nicht bekannt ist. Aber ein Punkt hier, ich habe das erwähnt, als wir angefangen haben in England mit Buy Social Corporate Challenge, wir waren nur 5 oder 6 Firmen. Ja? Heute sind wir 30 und SE UK hat aufgehalten, jetzt neue Firmen aufzunehmen, weil das wurde zu groß für sie zu managen. Ja? Das heißt, das kommt. Wir sind dabei schon seit 8 Jahren, aber ich sehe, dass mehr und mehr Siemens, Johnson & Johnson, SAP, da sind so viele Großunternehmen, die jetzt einen Blick drauf haben. Also das kommt.
Okay, wunderbar. Das ist eigentlich ein ganz schönes Schlusswort. Falls ihr gleich noch Fragen haben solltet, dann könnt ihr auch jetzt noch mal kurz die Hand strecken. Ansonsten würde ich sagen, alles im Nachgang. Du bist noch hier.
Ich bin hier heute und morgen und wir können gerne dann draußen unterhalten.
Wunderbar. Dann würde ich das so stehen lassen. Vielen lieben Dank, Jaime.
Danke.
Bitte nochmal um einen großen Applaus für Jaime Paiva.